Welcome to the Creation Station. Today we are going to be reviewing Lloyd's Hydro Mech. See there? There's the set. Here's what the back of the box looks like. I want to show this because I used to work in retail. I know sometimes people want to look at the back of the box, they turn it around, and they never turn it back. Or sometimes the worker actually stocks the boxes backwards. But now you can see both sides of it. Back, front. Yep, now this set is for 7 plus. The set number is 71750. Has 228 pieces. Retail price is $19.99. Currently, it's sold out on the Lego store, online Lego store, but they'll probably be filling it back in before Christmas season, and it can be found in stores as well. This is the first in the summer wave that I'm going to be covering, which all should be out right now, and they actually had 2 waves intermingled with. I will be alternating between the 2. This one is the normal series, the current storyline in the show, and the other one is the Legacy series, which, as I said, I'll be doing both. I'm going to start with the smallest set, which is the smallest set out of both lines, and be working my way up. Let's go open it up and see what's inside. Here we have the contents of the box. We got 2 bags. One's bigger than the other, but I feel like they got about the same amount of pieces. This one looks like it has bigger ones. This is a lot more smaller pieces. I'll be going over them after the main review. And here is the sticker sheet. Only 4 stickers, which is pretty good. And just to let you know, I don't happen to put stickers on my sets usually. Alright, here's the 2 figures that come with this set. Lloyd, of course, since that's his mech. And here's one of the bad guys, the snake people. And they all both look pretty good. Love how they've, I mean, it doesn't make much sense for ninjas to be underwater, but I like how what they've done to the character to make such a thing possible. His ninja mask here got goggles on it. It's actually dual molded, which is pretty neat. And it's also got his ninja sword there, kind of just a plain sword. Snake guy's got this beautiful aqua color scheme going along with the black. Looks really nice. Got matching flippers too. His weapon is a sai with a dragon hilt, a black dragon hilt, which I have not seen yet. Well, this is the first set. Maybe there'll be more in some of the other ones. And then he's got the MacGuffin in his other hand there. I'm not sure what it's called. Like I said, I haven't seen the new shows. Here they're stripped down. You can see their prints a little bit better. He's got quite the smirky face. He does have 2 faces. Here's his opposite face. Quite the scowl. He's very expressive. Nice gold and stuff on the back. And this guy has also got some nice trim on the back as well. Let's see if I can get that just... Yeah, there you go. That gold print. Okay, here's our set all put together, and let's put the bad guy aside for the time being and look closer at this mech. So, one thing, see this? No place to put it. Now he can hold on to it. That cockpit is not sealed, so you could have his arm just angled just right where he could hold it and it would be sticking out the side, but that's kind of defeats the purpose of what it's supposed to be, you know? But if you look back here, look at all this. How hard would it have been to just put a clip in there and bam, you've got a place to put the sword. Oh well, it's a problem with these things. You have a vehicle, you got a ninja, he needs a place to put his weapon. But that's a smaller gripe, and that's a gripe that's pretty much with a lot of these things. Now, I'm biased to robots, but this one I have some issues with. Now, for starters, its joints are a bit awkward to move around. Like, let's see if I can see here. It does have ball joints, but they're at kind of a weird angle. Let's see, they work best side to side like that, which is not what you want. You want up and down, and this is not the best. It's kind of tight. Also, they have click hinges at the elbows, which it isn't too bad. I mean, I think they did it just so there was more tension there. But it leaves for some really stiff movements. It's also got movement here in the wrist, which that's not too bad. That's kind of nice because you can angle that sword around. Now the sword looks beautiful. I love the build for it. It's simple. Yeah, let's take it out of here. You can see it better. Yeah, you got the sword piece. That, and get your little tassel at the end. Looks like a large version of his tasseled sword. The only problem is it just clips here on this clip. Oop, let's get it on the clip. Fingers do move a little bit. You can. Thumb doesn't. Well, I guess it can rotate that way, but it looks kind of weird in that position. But you see this? It spins. There's nothing to hold it into a particular place, so it's kind of loose. I mean, you don't have too much trouble moving it around. It's just weighted enough that it'll stay kind of in one spot, but it really is easy to move. Now that's the one arm. Oh, before I go to the other arm, these pauldrons are all on joints, which that's nice to give you some movement here, but like I said, the arm is so stiff. I don't even know what you need the pauldrons for. They look nice. I did like the build for this. And then the other pauldron you have, he's starting to sag because I'm putting too much pressure on his legs. But which he has no problem standing or balancing. He's got some pretty blocky feet. The other pauldron is also on a bearing, but there really isn't much movement to it. And once again, the arm also suffers with not a lot of motion. Now these things is supposed to be some kind of scissors, jaws of death. Not quite sure. Which, this is nice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this having a different arm. Let's see. It does have a little bit of a position there, and some movement there, but there's not a lot of movement. The arms, which is a little disappointing because it's a robot, and although, you know, we like to imagine they can walk around stuff, there really isn't much motion you can get in the legs when you're playing. When you're playing around, do you want motion in the arms? Do you want posability? You want action scenes? So it's kind of disappointing in that aspect. You can get some, but not a lot. And also this little searchlight moves too. Now I like the aesthetic of the pauldrons. As I said, this one's an upside down ship hull, which is kind of neat. It, you know, it gives it that feel like this was a mech that was hastily put together. Although not entirely, as you look at some of it, you know, like the legs and stuff, like doesn't quite look like a junk mech, as I like to call them. Where, you know, you get a junk heap and you go through and find spare parts and put it together and create a mech out of that. Now, not only are the pauldrons on balls and sockets, so are these little hip skirt things, which gives it a very, you know, gives it a samurai-ish looking look. And I love these pieces that they use here. But, yeah. In fact, I think the lower body is the best part. Pull it back a little bit. And he looks a little scrawny here with the joints here. Oh, speaking of joints, he's got just the ankle joint and hip joint. There's no knee joint. But, you know, he can get some good motion in these legs. There's plenty of freedom, and then these can move around to get out of the way. It's nice. And I like how these look deceptively bulky. Between the hip skirt thing here and these front panels, it looks quite bulky. But as you go along the side, look to the back here, there's not too much here. I mean, it's about a brick thickness worth there. Oh, I do have a problem with this. These toes keep coming off. Oops. Oops. There we go. I'm not even sure why. They should stick on just fine. But yeah, so there's his posability. The legs are really good. The upper body is actually the worst part, which is kind of disappointing. Now the cockpit here is interesting, and they did some interesting work here because it folds up and it goes right between, you can see here. It's right up between those two that hooks in there. Just like so. And there goes the toes again. But if you notice, you can see that he's got his fins on. He actually can fit in there with his fins on. So that, and oh, fins and scuba gear, because he's got a scuba tank back there. There is enough room to do it. But you can also, there is a double hinge here. So you can close it up tight. In fact, the picture even shows it unmanned, which I don't know why you'd want it unmanned, but you could put just a figure in there, and there's in the back a little spot where you can lock in their feet. But to use that, you have to not have flippers on and no scuba gear. So they've actually taken into account to both types when making this little cockpit, which that was clever. Just so disappointed in the arms. They look cool, he's swinging that big sword, but it's just a little disappointing the amount of movement you can get out of these. I mean, there's a overhead slice. Yeah, there's not a lot of posability in the upper arms, which is kind of disappointing. let's go back to the desk for final review. Back at the desk here with our final thoughts. Overall, this set is a meh for me. I would almost say I'm slightly disappointed with it, but that's just an overall feeling I get from it. Now, let's break it down a little bit more into details and go about rating it. Now, its appearance, it looks good. I like the look of it ever since I'd seen photos of it. It's very interesting. I mean, I love how they've made it nautical with this specialized cockpit and the, you know, upturned boat hull, and you know, we got a hose going on back here too to give it more of an underwater looking vibe to it. And it kind of looks, you know, like one of those small submarines only with legs. Gives that appearance of it. So, you know, that it gets points for that. It also looks very samurai-ish, which isn't exactly ninja, but it's around about the same thing. Turned boat hull for this pauldron, giving it kind of a feel like it was a junk mech, or it was what I call a junk mech. A mech that was thrown together from spare parts that was found lying around. If you want a good example of that, look at the Lego movie and look at the Captain Ironbeard's body mech thing. That's a good example of what I call a junk mech. This kind of has that thing, but then yet it's very uniform and everything else, so not sure what they're going for. I mean, this also has this feel of like a nautical admiral with his big, you know, poofy shoulder pads and maybe even a small cape going down the shoulder. Has that look to it, which if they're going for that, that's all right. But this says boat hull to me too. So anyways, for appearance, it's not terrible looking. It's a little confusing about what they're going for. We're going to give it a 9. It's not that great for appearance. Now, its functionality. Well, this is where it's going to tank a little bit. Now, legs are really good. Yes, no knee joints, but it's a small mech. It's not a big deal. The pauldron's moving and the little skirt pieces here moving. Pauldrons don't move too much, but they do move some. Those are nice. This cockpit, which was designed around having a figure in there with their flippers on, is really nice. We also have this beautiful little light here that's posable. But the arms, the functionality on the arms is just, I don't know, they needed to be longer with maybe a little bit looser joints, or just different angle to have the joints at. It would make it a lot better. It's getting a 7. Now, fun factor. Well, it's a mech. It's got cool, fun, you know, things you can do with a mech. You know, you fight with its sword and stuff. Now, because of the arms, it's a little less fun than it should be, you know? And another thing, what do you have here? You have a big mech versus one little bad guy. I don't know about you, but this seems a little bit off balance. Now, if this had come with a smaller vehicle, maybe, or something, you could do a little bit more with this. Now, this would be great when you combine it with some of the other sets of stuff, but we're just talking about these right here, self-contained set. And so yeah, the fun's a little bit disappointing. So we are going to be giving this an 8. Would be better, you know, like I said, with a small vehicle, but an 8 is where we're going to stick it in. Now, techniques, building techniques. A lot of it's standard fare with using like bionic ball joints and stuff. There's some regular joints up here. There isn't a lot of amazing techniques. I mean, the fact that they allotted for the fins in the cockpit is really nice, and that's giving it a little bit higher rating, and we're going to give it an 8. So that's the rating with that. Now price. It sits at, what did I say? Yeah, 8 cents per piece. That is below the standard of 10 cents. So price is good. And yes, I'm giving it a good, but you know, it's almost a pass because I'm slightly disappointed in the design. But yeah, it's a good price. It's kind of interesting though because there are a lot of big pieces. You got the bolt hull, you got the sword, these pauldron and hip pieces are rather large pieces. These are rather large pieces. They're not super big. I mean, the hull's probably the bigger. Oh, and the cockpit. And there are some small pieces, but there is quite a bit of large pieces in here. It makes me question some of the prices that they put on the junior sets, which the reason why they're supposedly so expensive is the price, or I mean the larger pieces that they use, which contains more plastic. Therefore, a piece would definitely not be a standard small piece. I'm going to be looking at some of them. There's actually one in this line. We'll see what goes on when we get there. But yeah, it makes me wonder about that. So it's a fun set. It could be better with just, you know, a vehicle more, although they might end up charging maybe another $5 more, which $20 is good, not a terrible price. $25, that wouldn't be budget. It wouldn't be asking for too much to have another vehicle in there for $25. Though, frankly, I like the Marvel Mechs line. They have more possibility than this. I haven't put them all together yet, but the Spider-Man versus Dr. Ock set is the same price as this, and you get 2 mechs. Now they're smaller than this guy, but you get 2 mechs. And if they're as I haven't gotten or put that one together yet, but if they're as flexible and posable as some of the other ones, that's a better deal than this. But that's a review for another day. So this isn't the best set, but it's not the worst set. And I think that is reflective in the overall grade, which ends up averaging out to be an 8. So overall, the set is getting an 8G. 8 gold bricks out of 10, and good price point. So that's it for this. I'm going to have a little bit more after here. This is my final judgment on this. This is only my opinion on it. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of it after seeing this review, and if you've got the set yourself, go ahead and let's talk about Lego. Now, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, and of course like and share with others. That's it for me here at the Creation Station. Remember, creativity is key. Here we have the contents of bag 1. There's really not a lot amazing here. There's some, you know, a lot of parts for making robots. There's ball joints and things like that. This threw me off first, but that's just the scuba gear. It's interesting how they have it. Well, it looks like it goes onto the legs and the neck, make it very secure. Here's the smaller kibble pieces. We do have a lot of sand green colored pieces. We also have these. I don't know how well they'll show up camera, but they're clear dots. Okay, here we have bag 2. Definitely a lot more interesting pieces in here. Well, some of these you could see right on the picture on the box, such as this boat hull piece up here, and interesting cockpit piece, and his gold blade. But this I did not notice on the box are these here. These smaller gold blades, sort of. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure how they go in the set. I'll put it together and find out. And then there's these like armor pieces, which I think are really cool looking. I'm sure they're using a lot of other newer sets. I have just starting to put together a lot of the newer sets. Here's the kibble. Not too much interesting here. You have the new MacGuffin piece. Nice little bendy hose. Probably good for air supply. And more that green color piece. Now there's some bright orangey yellow pieces in here. There's one there. And a couple more here in the smaller pieces. They seem a little bit out of place with the rest of the colors, but we'll see how it all comes together. Okay, so here's the leftover kibble. There's not much here, but we do have some extra weapons, which is always good. Although, I said there's not much here, but there's probably almost enough that you could somehow figure out how to equip the weapon to the back of the mech, like I mentioned earlier.